Well, Jim, the other game in Paris, brutal final passage of play, wasn't it? Was it like 37 phases or something?
37. Can I just start with something quite funny, which only came across my desk yesterday?
You got a desk?
France, South Africa. No, as in makeshift desk.
Yeah. I was going to say,
Basically,
you can't even work your laptop, can you?
I know. I've never
Voice
sat
notes.
at a desk. So, yeah, I was sat there looking at my phone. That was my desk. And Ben Kaiser came over and we were chatting about the game the night before. He's doing French TV and he's obviously very good at it, completely irrelevant to the story. But he said, what about last night's game? I was like, yeah, phenomenal. And he's like, 37 phases, 38 phases, however it finished up. He said, it was mad. I said, yeah, look, Ireland looked tired towards the end. They weren't really going anywhere. They were making like small inroads. I said, Jack Conan was the only one with any bite. And he said, oh, did you see Jack Conan? And he had one boot. I said, no. So I went back and looked at it, and this is the only funny part of the game, obviously not to take the piss, but try and make light of what's been a very serious weekend of rugby. He has got one boot on for about 25 phases.
Really?
He is carrying, he is clearing out, and he has got one boot and one sock on. Like, it is hilarious.
Where's it gone then?
Fucking leave no man behind. It's on the halfway line somewhere.
I need to go and look at that. That would be class.
Yeah, it was quite funny. Yeah, I was watching it. I mean, look, I'll start and then Goody, you might give a little bit more detail. I was a pundit, a media analyst, a hype man who said that the All Blacks didn't have the power. Like, I hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen much of Richie Mwanga at that highest level.
How good?
Oh, Goody, he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
You could maybe talk about him. For me, the golden story out of that game was Sam Cane.
Yeah.
So I had the great Richie McCaw pitch side with me, and he's the greatest to have ever done it. The number 7 jersey. So you had, before Richie McCaw, you had Josh Kronfeld and you had Michael Jones. Like, the number 7 jersey in All Blacks colours is, I would say, the most iconic jersey, as well as Jonah Lomu's number 11. And the pressure on Sam Cane, we were talking about it a couple of weeks ago on the show that I was doing. I know we've spoken about it on here. We touched on it last week. Would they start with Sam Cane? Andy Rowe, you thought the All Blacks would go all in on him, and they did. And think about what happened, right? So actually, when I was looking at stuff before the game, like Peter O'Mahony saying to him, "You just a shit Richie McCaw."
Yeah.
Before. All that in his mind, the fact that he was injured in the tournament, back spasms, and he's kind of limped his way back into that game. His face when they came out, I remember seeing it on the big screen. Not that, he means business, and if they didn't win the game, I would have even brought it up. Like, that was one of the best performances of a back row, or him and Ardy Surveyor, but Sam Cane especially. That's one of the biggest performances I've seen in terms of the physical intent and the violence and physicality at the breakdown. That is, for me, was a large part of what they won the game. Like, yes, the short kicking game and all these things and how accurate they were in attack. But just talking of Sam Cane, I am so happy for him because of the pressure that he's been under. Mate, he's a fucking All Blacks hero after that performance. It was unbelievable. Fair play to him.
Yeah. And Andy Rowe, you lot have been questioning him as well back home. So do you owe him an apology?
I think last year his form was poor. And
no, just say sorry. That's enough. Just say sorry. Just say, Sam Cane, officially, I am sorry. And all of New Zealand are sorry for questioning you.
I didn't question him this year.
I'm denying it. Deny, reaccuse.
I said this year he's been playing really well.
Go with him. Andy Rowe did say.
Yeah, but I'm talking about what they've been saying about him behind his back.
Last year, when he was coming back from injury, he was poor.
Just say sorry, mate.
This year, I think that he's played outstanding. He's been really good. I think he's a different kind of 7 than what the All Blacks are maybe used to. He's not a fetcher. He's a banger. Like, he just hits people.
He was fetching as well, though, wasn't he? Like, he was banging and fetching. Like, it was his best ever game, I think. Unreal. His best ever game. And you talk about the undertones in it. And I've seen a screenshot of some of Sam Cane's WhatsApps. I mean, who's Judas Sam Cane to send that screenshot?
AI.
WhatsApp?
Deny.
Yeah.
Deny. Blame AI.
Yeah, but he's talking about what Ritalik said after the game to Peter O'Mahony, and I'll read it to you. So, I mean, there's a few bits. Obviously, Sam Cane, he's messaging one of his mates. We don't know who his mate is. And it is Sam because the picture of him in his WhatsApp profile is Sam. But obviously messaging a mate, and he's come out with his mate's trying to find out what Rieko Ioane said to Sexton, because we saw that. Sexton's losing his shit again. So Rieko Ioane's come out and said he told Johnny Sexton to enjoy retirement and don't miss the flight home tomorrow. That's why Johnny Sexton obviously lost. Fucking fuck! And got mad. And then to add to it, he said Brodie Retallick said to Peter O'Mahony, off the back of what Peter O'Mahony said to Sam Cane, "You're just a shit Richie McCaw." He said, "Oi, Peter, 4 more years, you fuckwit." From Retallick. So I shouldn't laugh because I love the Irish. But
that's obviously that's the gamesmanship, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they started it.
Yeah. And obviously there's not a bit of ill feeling there, but the fact that
there is.
Yeah, okay, there is. Let's dress it up.
Yeah.
The fucking All Blacks hate the Irish because they went to your country, took the record, they've been hyped up. And do you know what? It probably hurts the All Blacks more than any other team to hear another team being talked up as the number 1 team in the world, because historically, the majority of the time, it's been the All Blacks, hasn't it? So they're taking it very personally. People have spoken about what's been said before, but there was an absolute edge. And I don't think anyone who's watched the All Blacks play over the last 3 months has probably thought they had that level of intensity to go to, unless you were probably a Kiwi or someone from inside the camp that just knew the specimens that are out there. I don't want to talk about refereeing decisions. And I tweeted at the start, I thought Wayne Barnes was letting the All Blacks get away with a fair bit at the breakdown in the first 10 minutes. A couple of occasions when they didn't roll in their own 22 and there was some hands on the floor and all this stuff. But what do you mean Sam Whitelock made the hit at the end and didn't release and then got the turnover? What are you on about, Jim?
Wasn't that just Jim Hamilton-esque, though, that turnover?
No, Jim used to do the clap, hands in the air, show clear hands, and then go back on the ball.
But Jim did that for Saracens, didn't he?
Sam Whitelock has not even released. He's just gone straight down on the ball. But we're picking. Ireland will be devastated with they'll look at themselves first and foremost. Johnny Sexton misses a pretty simple kick at goal, which you never see him miss. And bless him, I actually tweeted about it on 65 minutes. The tank was empty. He was struggling to run around. He's 38, 39 years of age, bless him. But
he's not done 80 minutes, has he, at that level?
No.
And I don't even know when the last time.
Should they have taken him off earlier?
Well, I don't think anyone's done it at that level because it was such a high level. And then the fact that Sexton's only ever really played 60 minutes of games, 70 minutes maybe, because they've been winning comfortably, they can take him off. But could they have taken him off? No, I don't. I think it's too big a thing to take him off. Hindsight, maybe they could have or should have. But then you could Conor Murray, real dumb penalty that he gave away, which meant they had to go for the try in all those last phases as opposed to the drop goal or something like that. Kelleher, when he gets held up, tip of the absolute Jim Hamilton slipper to Geordie Barrett.
My goodness me. That won the game.
That won the game, but Kelleher will look back on it and go, he broke off too early. Now, you're the line-out Norse, Jim, the maul extraordinaire. Like, you're looking at that going, you've broken off too early, haven't you?
Well, in hindsight, yes. But if Geordie Barrett's leg wasn't there and he scores it, he's a hero, isn't he?
Yeah.
But these things, Goody, right, with the All Blacks, the cracks in their team, what we would speak about normally, and we can only go based on 4 years ago against England and then what we've seen since then, like losses to Australia, losses to Argentina, losing to Ireland at home, summer series, getting smoked by South Africa. So all this is based on stuff that I've seen. Yeah. So line-out's not amazing. The scrum isn't as good as some of the best teams in the world. Sam Cane, the breakdown, the power in the tight five, all of them small cracks within the All Blacks weren't there against Ireland.
No.
They weren't. Their scrum was dominant. I say dominant as in they got the calls of Wayne Barnes, which I thought was right, and I've seen people online thinking that Porter was penalised and it was wrong. No, I've seen the scrums, and as hard as they are to referee, they were the right decisions. Their line-out was accurate.
Porter will be frustrated. He didn't change his behaviour, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that was what I mean, because he was going. He was
so
going around. He was going,
so dialed in, wasn't he?
Oh, of course. Yeah, and if you want to be a nose about it, the All Blacks scrummaged so well because they weren't fighting to go forward. They wanted stability. They wanted parity, whereas Ireland wanted to monster them.
Yeah,
and they won every scrum.
There you go. So that's what I mean. I think there's another stat out there as well. Did they not make one handling error?
Not one.
Not one handling error.
So
it was
Ireland
a flawless performance.
Ireland had no scrums. No scrums. The All Blacks had 5.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And you know what? As much as I love Ireland, I changed my name to Seamus, lost my blue tick in order to do that. And
what a sacrifice.
I know, it's a massive sacrifice.
What an idiot.
You know
what an idiot.
I swear, I never paid for my blue tick. I'd never paid for my blue tick. So I still had it, and now it's gone. So,
and you didn't respond to my tweet either.
I've not seen it.
Well, I was asking you, now Seamus is gone. What is it? Is it Jim Vander Hamilton? Is it James Hamilton? Is it Schwan Hamilton?
Schwan.
Oh, I can't remember what else I put.
No, I'm neutral now. Because you know what? The reason I'm neutral around that, I love the All Blacks brand. I really do. Like, I think it's such a cool brand. Like, the enigma around them, the hacker, the players that they've got, the arrogance, the swagger. Matt, I love it. I do.
Who would you rather win the whole thing? South Africa, Argentina, New Zealand, or England?
South Africa.
You're a quarter English, Jim. I can't.
No, but it's not.
You play for England
on
the 20s, Jim. Have some respect to the country and the clubs that made you in this country.
And I know. And when I say that because of the performances of England. I think it would be mental. And you know what? They could go on to do it, and they could change it. They were miles better against Fiji. But the path they've had and the performances they've had to put in to get to that point is quite sad, I think. And that's the honest appraisal when I look at that. But they were miles better against Fiji. And I put a tweet out and kind of quote referenced someone who spoke to me about it. I said that if England are desperate, they'll be dangerous. And I think they'll be desperate. So they will be dangerous against South Africa.
But going back to Ireland, New Zealand, 41 minutes, 54 seconds ball in play time.
Oh, maybe Fozzie was right about ball and play time.
Well, it's a great spectacle, not testicle. But it's flip of the coin. It could have gone either way, couldn't it? And balance of power. Ireland will look at it and go, they had it within their own control to win that game by a few little errors. But to the neutral looking at it going, like, Ireland had to graft for their tries. New Zealand cut them to shreds with classic All Blacks attack. Like Moanga, when he's made the break off that line out, you just see Finlay Bealham gets held a little bit back. You know, he's slow off the line. Dan Sheehan at the tail of the line out doesn't know whether to go drift onto Moanga or wait for the inside ball because Finlay Bealham's just behind. Add into that, Tyg Burns tried to get through the line out and attack the 9 and then running a line to catch up back in defence. And it's just, and you're talking a quarter of a metre probably, half a metre max of being out of position, and bang, Moanga's through onto Jordan, no biscuit, hell of a try. And they're the finest of margins, aren't they? You know, the finest of margins, you're talking about Geordie Barrett's legs holding up. You know, Kelleher scores that try, Ireland win the game. So we are talking about the most minute details of one of the greatest games of rugby alongside South Africa, France to have ever been witnessed, in my opinion. And that stat of 41 minutes and 54 seconds ball in play time is a ridiculous stat. No wonder the boys are walking at the end. They empty the tanks. And what I will say, I think some people said it before the game, New Zealand played their first game against France, was their big test. They've had an easy run since then in terms of freshness and all that stuff. Ireland have had to go to the well and back to beat South Africa, to beat Scotland, going up against Samoa. And a lot of those boys, there's some stat that came out, a lot of the boys, some of them have started pretty much every game, haven't they? I think Hugo Keenan's played every minute, as has someone else. I can't remember who the other one was. But either way, and that's just circumstance. But, my God, the All Blacks are back.
Pod. Rugby pod.